Yeah. It's your boy, the Quis, and yet again, another episode of Quis's Couch. And I have a guest with me today, Andrea. Shout out to the fans.
What's good, people?
Yes, it's my favorite, one of my favorites. I got a lot of favorites, but you know, it's like having children. You have different favorites. Well, Andrea, although she is definitely far from my child, if anything, I'd be her child. She is the POTUS. She's a warrior for Christ and for love and for wisdom and discussion. So, although her and I like to talk about religion and when we can do it, you know, ad nausea, there's another topic that we got into earlier that we're gonna address and pun intended. Shouts out to Against All Odds, my new place of employment. I work there, and thank you. Today was my first day, and it's funny because Andrea and I were talking about women and body types and what the average, you know, size is. And it's funny because, Andrea, I'll let you speak to it, but what do you, from our previous conversation about body types, what do you have to say about women? Because as a lover of women, I want to say, ladies, if you're a grown woman, being a 0, 1 to 3, that's not necessarily the ideal average weight. To me, average is like a 9, you know, at least. That's average. If you're a grown woman that has some kids, you probably not a 0, 1 to 3, or a 5. You know, if I see a 1 and you in your late 30s, I'm going to think you got something, you know? I mean, at best, you got a fast metabolism, but I'm going to assume you at least did some crack for a couple decades, and, you know, that's all well and good, but if I'm going to put a titty in my mouth, you know, I want a mouthful plus, Andrea, so please.
You a mess.
I'm just saying, I don't want no A minuses. I'm just saying.
Love your honesty. I really do, and that's why I just enjoy talking to you. For me, I'm just keeping 100. When I look at myself, because of my height, I'm short.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I used to allow people to make me feel bad because of my weight. Mm-hmm. But then it really has something to do with how you feel about yourself. I love me. You know what I mean? And it's like, I believe that my weight is all in the right places. Hello.
Hey.
You know what I mean? I feel, you know, personally it's proportioned right where it needs to be.
And you gotta love yourself. You know, if you don't love yourself, then anyone else cannot. You know, it's a fight. If y'all both fighting to love you, then it's a problem. And bodies, a stripper once told me that no body is interesting after about 3 seconds. You know, you stare at a body that's standing still. That was the quote. If you stare at a body that's standing still for more than 3 seconds, you're going to start to notice, you know, the lack of symmetry and, you know, discoloration and odd shaped body parts. That's why if you're naked, you got to keep moving. You know, don't let people focus too long. You know, what's that?
Now, I can comment on the stripper because I used to back in my day.
Wait a minute.
I swung on a pole or two.
Okay.
And you know, and like realistically, yeah, you know what I mean. After so long, you know, I believe the guys just tossing dollars just to be tossing dollars.
Well, listen, a coochie is a beautiful thing, so you don't really need much after that. You know, men, we like tits and ass, but we really want to. If you long, you got. Like they say, what's your type? My type is she has to have a vagina. And really after that, everything else is negotiable. You know, all your limbs and, you know, disease, we might work around that. You know, that's why they invented prophylactics. But at the end of the day, you know, the bottom line is, I think women are gorgeous. And, you know, clothes make women look sometimes less attractive. The belts and the jeans and everything, all bras got your breasts all sitting all up under your chin, and then you take the bra off and they more around your belly button. You know, I need to look at what you're working with. You know, instead of having things all tied up and pulled up and twisted to the side and pushed all down. Because once you let the gut come out, you know, let me do a little 360. Let me walk around and let me check you out. You know what I'm saying? Let it hang out. And like, as long as the hair down there is where it's supposed to be, because people know me, I love a bush. You know, and I'm not talking to the president. All I'm saying is that's just decoration. Leave that alone, ladies. All that Brazilian, nah. I'm from the jungle. I'm Africa.
You know, speaking about that, you know, I have to come correct with you. You know, I have to get, you know, keep it spiritual. You know, to each his own. You know, men just speaking as a human being. Mm-hmm. You know, some guys like big girls, some guys like them girls, some girls, and it's vice versa. Some women like big guys, some, you know.
No. Guys, listen, guys don't have a type. Don't believe that. We like I said, we like women. A type is something that if somebody put a gun to your head, what's your type? I like light-skinned girls with light mustaches, like my. But at the end of the day, you'll take whatever's before you. You know what I'm saying? Like when you at your job, think about it like this.
That's interesting. That's really interesting to hear. You know,
it's contextual.
Because, you know, I guess that's why we women like try so hard to go the extra mile, but then again, again, it comes to that place where you have to really start loving yourself.
Right, because
regardless of what somebody thinks of what they have to say about you. Listen, I love me. I love the way I look. Somebody doesn't like that. Okay, it's not going to tear me down or ruin my self-esteem.
It can't.
You know, because I love me.
And let me tell you, this is how a man mind works. I'm gonna speak from my perspective, but I feel confident that you can apply this to most, if not all, men. I remember as early as 3rd grade, I would walk into the class and I would like, okay, which girl do I think is the cutest? And then I would rate the girls about mine, and the main 3 or 4 I would want to talk to. From 3rd grade, I was sizing them up. And then it's like the girl, 9 out of 10 times that I liked it the most, end up liking me. Like I was giving off vibes or whatever. And it was like she was the cutest in that class. That's the girl I had on, I had a crush on in that class, that group of the 30, 16 girls. And then if I go to a job, out of all my coworkers, who's the cutest, who's the sexiest, who's the one that's like a friend, and who has the best combination of all that, So for a man in any situation, walking down the street, who the cutest girl on this block right now? You in the store, who the cutest girl in the store? It's so compartmentalized that it's not about like, oh, I gotta have this specific type of girl. Men, as long as she has a vagina, she's already 80% your type.
Wow.
You're not passing up. Men are not passing up coochie like, nah, I'm all right. I mean, if a man passes up.
It's amazing to hear this coming from an older gentleman. I have 3 sons.
Mm-hmm.
And, we have conversations all the time about the girls, the ladies, or whatever. And me being a woman, of course, I'm going to, speak to my sons from a woman's point of view.
Right. But
I also teach my son, hey, prettier don't necessarily mean right.
No, prettier means lazy and pampered. Like, fuck a pretty bitch. No, wait a minute. That came out wrong. That was some personal angle right there.
Really,
let me pull that back.
Careful. Don't judge a female based off of their appearance.
But I can tell you this, Andrea, in all seriousness, pretty women tend to be some of the most selfish, self-centered, emotionally unstable, insecure, broken, mean, holding on to just lostness. I mean, pretty girls have been bothered with and spiritually, physically, emotionally, sexually molested for so long that there's just like a darkness and corrodedness. And the truly pretty girls are the ones that don't try at it and they seem okay and balanced and calm. And I can think of some pretty girls like that. But the actual pretty girls, especially young girls, I mean, it's like, in my opinion, no one loves like an ugly girl, whatever that means. Because ugly women, boy, oh boy, they do some shit with their tongue. And I mean, they just, they go in. Ugly girls go ham. And it's like, it's so reciprocal. Like every guy I talk to agrees that a pretty woman in bed, a lot of times is like a dead fish. They just lay there. And
I hear comedians say that.
Because that shit is true.
I guess it's true.
They feel like, well, shit, don't my beauty make it feel better? Actually, a little bit, but not enough if you just laying there you ain't even wet. You just damn. Who the fuck damn coochie? You know what I'm saying?
Damn. That is amazing.
But the line is, huh?
But I gotta go there with you, and again, please.
Take it, please. Let's go.
I'm not acting like I'm used to or have it. You know what I mean? But it's like really speaking biblically and spiritually, we're supposed to save ourselves for our husbands and for our wives. One man sees each woman, vice versa. And then, when I hung up with you, I asked the Lord, I said, Lord, help me deal with this topic. Give me something to be able to conversate with Quis about this topic about the body.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, he led me to Corinthians chapter 6, verse 19. And it says, I'm reading it in the New English translation.
Mm-hmm.
It says, don't you realize your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit who lives in you and it was given by God.
Okay.
You do not belong to yourself, for God bought you with a price.
Okay.
So you must honor your body, your God with your body.
Right.
Now, when I read that, I'm like, you know what, God, you're right. Of course, your word is true, but it made me even reflect on how I treat my body.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I call myself a child of God, and I'm a child of God now.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like really, I'll be 100% with you, Keith. There's some things that I put in my body that should not even go there.
And that's what the average does.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Smoke, You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I smoke.
And you
I
know,
do stuff that I'm not supposed to.
No,
You know what I mean?
based on what you said, the way I interpret that, it means that you strive towards, I understand that certain parts of the Bible say you can't cut your hair, you can't, shave or get tattoos, and, you can't wear piercings. We are locked if we go, the way I understand the Bible and the way that God wanted, everyone from Jesus down to act, especially the angels, is your obedience and your actions have to be like that of the pinpoint of a needle. And if you waver in any direction, then you lose favor. And it's always about trying to, aspire to that perfection of self-control. And those angels and those spirits that can move to that, that's a maturation of spirit. So all of us are on a path to reaching that. I once read that a human mind has a desire to get back to rightness. Whatever wrongness that exists in the brain, we fight against that.
But you know something, and I have to be honest with you. I'm starting to discover, and I'm starting to learn that a lot of things that I learned in the church and how we should be and how we should conduct ourselves is not necessarily the truth.
Well, because the church.
What I mean by that, like, okay, you are here. You have right to judge your brother, your Christian brothers and sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Not according to the conversations I've been having with God and what I've been reading about the character of Christ and all that. That's not so. And the Lord always takes me in these visions.
But that's why, Andrea. That's why, because I wanted to jump in real quick because we got about maybe 3 more minutes to tape. What I want to say is, that goes back to me originally telling you and consistently that you need to be ordained, because any church you go to is subject to that pastor's or that group of pastors or ministers or priests, their interpretation of the word, their focus, their bias.
These different doctrines.
You're gonna see every, not only amongst every denomination, but of every church and every pastor, different iterations and focuses. Every church, every individual who speaks the word is shaped by their perspective, their limit of knowledge and interpretation. Like whoever taught the Bible to you has influenced how you perceive what you choose to focus on. The same people, that read the Bible that said slavery should exist, other people read those same passages and saw something completely different. So interpretations affect people's relationship when you have an intermediate there, which in many cases you do need an intermediate. So the relationship and the road to discovering religion is always going to be an individual path regardless. And congregation is nothing but a combination of individual paths, that you get the blending. So that church represents a value system and a bias, whether it's conservative or literal. They're a nudist church, okay? Yeah. Nudist church. Yeah. To me, that's like completely sacrilegious and awesome.
Yeah. But, I'm just to a level now where I'm asking God, Keith, honestly, with my, Lord, show me what you mean for me. Not based on what somebody is telling me, but what you want from me.
And that takes a lot of fearlessness. Yes, that takes a lot of fearlessness to humble yourself enough not to move by that voice that tells you, go the way your father taught you, go the way your mother taught you, go the way your culture told you, society told you. Maybe God wants you to travel to Pakistan and become a Buddhist monk. You're like, wait a minute, God, I was raised Christian. I can't go to Pakistan. And where you going to find, acceptance of a black female Buddhist monk in Pakistan when, as far as I know, women can't even be monks, let alone black people? And why would I go and do that in Pakistan? And God is saying, I'm not a Christian God any more than I'm a Buddhist God. I'm a God. And if your role is there, don't deny that calling. And then everybody's like, no, you can't do that. You was raised Christian. You can't go that route. But you know what? God has more than Christians under his belt. Okay? So what any individual needs to know, you got to go to those places and be what he wants you to be.
I never, ever deny the fact that I'm a Christian.
And that's I wasn't talking to you specifically. In general.
I hear you. And like I said, as I've learned and I'm taking these world religious classes, I'm understanding. That's why I said I'm just to a point where I do not put God in a box anymore.
Right, and that's what it boils down to.
I was taught this is God. That's why I said to people, stop saying God is not in stuff.
He's in everything. That's every religion teaches that. So you can't deny other religions or anything. God is the devil. God is Buddhism. God is science. God is math. And it's so many names for the same entity. And we got about 10 seconds left. Andrea, final word.
Just seek God for yourself. Ask him what he wants from you.
And love your body, because God gave you that.
Yes,
and
yes, love it.
if you want to find out if it's a sexy body, ladies, you can show it to me. You can inbox me pictures on a purely professional level, objective. Fellas, I don't want no dick pics. All right, Quis' Couch. Andrea, thanks for being a guest. I'm your host, the Quis. I'm going to see you again. We up to like episode 16. We out. Peace.